The 2022 Nigerian floods affected many parts of the country. From the federal government data, the flood displaced over 1.4 million people, killed over 603 people, and injuring more than 2,400 persons. About 82,035 houses were damaged. The worship centers were not left out in the rapid flooding across all the affected states. Mountain of Fires and Miracles Ministries churches in Bayelsa, Kogi, and Anambra state had its fair share of the flood that displaced hundreds of people. Some church buildings and church members' houses were also submerged by the flood, thereby displaced many members out of their homes.
Flood is not a problem to them in this area when we are talking about flood. This is a water, a riverine area. But this one that came was the grandfather of flood. This one was too much for them to bear. Affected places they had not affected before. Many houses were submerged to the brim, and most of our 11 regions of our churches were affected.
The particular region was seriously affected. Southeast 10, Iowa, the regional headquarters was taken over by the flood, and the zone, Atani, and the Okoti branches were completely taken over.
What actually brought our attention to it, we also want to accredit it to a young girl who happened to come around for counseling. And when the girl came for counseling, the girl said something. The girl said, I should give her a prayer point that the man they are living with is harassing her sexually. So immediately I said, how come you are living with somebody and is harassing you sexually? He said, flood took over their place.
About 14 regions of the MFM Church were affected by the rapid flood in Bayelsa State. 10 were totally submerged, with some members displaced from their houses.
We enter into prayer every night, 12 to 1, 12 to 1, 12 to 1, that our people must be protected, there must not be loss of life, and this one should be arrested by the Holy Ghost. And truly, nobody, we didn't lose any life. Everyone was protected, and things went really well. You see, when something like that happens, the best thing you can do as a leader is just to make sure you are in contact with your members. We were in contact with them every day, asking them, counseling them, giving them what to do. Some of them in the low hill area where water really affected, we told them to move to the upper side here, and we arranged how they can escort with some of the families whose their places were not affected.
Olukoya in Kogi State is another city that witnessed the devastating seasonal flood in 2022. This experience was harrowing as church buildings were also submerged and some members displaced.
So I quickly sprang into action, and we started visiting, making announcements, people started reporting, and to the glory of God, it was very okay. At the time, we allowed some to even keep their tents, their family to keep their tents at the Corpus Lodge upstairs, while some even came telling us they needed a place to put up, and I allowed some in the house, in the mission house.
Anambra State also had its fair share of the flood. Regional headquarters at Iyowa Odepe, Atani Zonal Headquarters, and Okoti Branch, all in the suburb of Onitsha Metropolis, were submerged by the flood.
Immediately we got information, as at then many of our pastors were already displaced. They were not living in their houses. Some were squatting with co-tenant, landlords, some packed out, and went to their relatives outside the area So we step in.
In show of love and solidarity, some members of the church accommodated the displaced members in their various homes.
In a situation like this, our fellowship system will come to play. And that is why we need to re-emphasize the issue of house fellowships. Our father-in-law have not been play with house fellowship system. House fellowship system will come to play when you have issues like this, because the church members, when you see church like this, not everybody is really a member. One of the criteria of being a member of Mountain of Fire, you must be in house fellowship at a group. So we inform all the house fellowship leaders that get to know those who are affected. Talk to those who are not affected to accommodate those who are affected. And you see, they know themselves. They've been in the house fellowship together. It's very easy to do something on that level. So in that level, they were able to absorb them in, manage their load. So for a few weeks, and since they've been together, they've been seeing themselves together. It's not new. It's not that you are welcoming a stranger.
Whether we like it or not, we are the immediate recipients of the pressure. And they have started coming, calling, feeling frustrated. Definitely when you are moved out of your house, we are living to a strange place, which is not convenient, you feel frustrated. So we are receiving all.
The flood had economic, health, and psychological impacts on the members and their pastors in the affected states.
In fact, it affected me that I almost thought I'm the most affected. That's what I thought too. Why? During that time, I least expected it. But before I know it, the whole property in my office was submerged. Even my yard. So I was crying for the loss in my yard. I was crying for the loss in the office. So it was so heavy on me that I was like, oh God, what is this?
The flood has dried up now, but it's not habitable. I need to put a serious renovation there before one can go back in there, which I am not able to meet the financial, due to financial constraint now.
My husband lost his job as a result of depression. The building is not something that we can stay, and we have been hovering around, moving from one place to another.
The prices of items went high. A bag of rice was sold for 62,000.
As a caring and loving father, the General Overseer, Mountain of Fire and Miracles Ministries, Dr. D.K. Olukoya, having been briefed of the plight of members in these 3 states, responded immediately and deployed massive relief materials to cushion the economic effect of the flood on the members of the church.
It was a graceful call because it was a nightmare to me. I said, what are we going to do? So when our RO now told us that our Father and our Lord heard about it, that I supposed to even come here personally, see, the first thing you need to do is this, that is know that these people are in need of this, now send money to us, that we should buy materials so that we can give to these people, rice, beans, soap, any kind of thing, many. And we were able to distribute it. But like us now, we that are on that side, because we are the worst hit.
Thank God for our father-in-law. We all know him. He's a man that when he hears something concerning his own children, he will respond. His response was very fast.
That shows how dear his children with the members are to him. And the response was so quick. When I say quick, I mean fast, immediate. Because what I will have done, they be eating food that moment, but they may not collect salary. Which means the problem lingers. But with our daddy's help now, we're able to cover the salary, and they were happy even at that moment.
From the way I told our father in the Lord, I wasn't expecting his response immediately. I expected that after telling him, maybe for some days, we'll still be following it up. But immediately I told him, immediately, something happened. Immediately. I didn't even go to Lagos. He just spoke with me on the phone. Immediately, something happened. So our father in the Lord is actually preaching love, and he's showing love, he's teaching love. I see him too as somebody practicing love, because he told me something. He said, this is where the church needs us.
The whole region was sustained. They gave us foodstuffs, tubers of yams, bags of rice, and physical cash. At least among the seeds of the pastors that was seriously affected, they went on with each person up to 30,000 naira each cash. I myself 50,000 naira, then plus other foodstuffs. And the GO even went further to pay for the month, all the staffs for that particular month. That's why all of us, we have not seen like that before.
The distribution of relief materials became an avenue for evangelism. Non-members of the church who benefited from the largesse provided by our Father in the Lord, Dr. D.K. Olukoya, became members of the ministry by this singular act of kindness.
The opportunity enabled us, it became a thing of evangelism, that it even added some members to the church. Because I know of a family that came, not because it was ministered to directly, but because the sister was ministered to. And the family said, if this church can minister to families like this, they would rather prefer to be here. And the family had joined us here. Even in one of our branches to Peace Community, we had a similar situation where a member who was ministered to, not a person who was ministered to, not as a member, ended up becoming a member of the church.
To meet people at the point of need is the best evangelism outreach we can do.
Some of the beneficiaries of these relief materials expressed their appreciation to the General Overseer, MFM Worldwide, Dr. D.K. Olukoya, for identifying with them in their time of need.
You are indeed a father that understands the pains of the people.
I thank God for our Father in the Lord for being there for us.
And then from GO for up, that GO came, intervene, and then sent something and then some goods that to benefit. It is my surprise because that period, things was difficult. To even feed, they're not like business, nothing's moving. Everywhere was so disaster. But to thank God for the intervention of a GO, it's surprising to me for GO to intervene in this kind of a situation. That God is a really man of God that God is using. And I pray for God Almighty that God to keep his life and his family to keep on, to be there for us and for the Nigeria entirely.
I want to first say a big thank you to our Daddy and Committee for these divisions. I am actually the chairman of the welfare committee in the Benga region, so I understand the stress that and families in fact have been through during this flood period.
I appreciate their deed to us. I appreciate that we thank God for them so much. It did not waste time to dispose the money to us. No, it did not waste any time. So they help us a lot. I pray that God will continue to work in his ministry.
Every one of us, we are really touched with what he has done, remembering us at this period that everybody is looking for how to get something to balance off. Our daddy remember every one of us and said, have this. Daddy, we thank you. Mommy, we thank you.
I'm most grateful, sir, and appreciate what the General Overseer has done of Mountain of Fire and Miracle Ministry. It's very lovely for concern about us, even that is far from Lagos, in this locality. I'm really grateful, sir. I will really appreciate.
By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have love one to another.